Hey, welcome to the Basketball to Remix podcast. I am your host, Mark Armstrong, aka Coach 1891. This is our first podcast number 1, and it's May 19th, 2020. Since the Basketball to Remix podcast is going to be about basketball, it's only appropriate to start the podcast off talking about the spirit of basketball. You know, basketball was created at the Young Men's Christian Association International Training Institute to solve a problem: how to keep a group of rambunctious young men occupied during the cold New England winters. The story is told that James Naismith was a part of a class that was assigned the task of creating a game to address this problem. Several game concepts were introduced to the young rambunctious men before the game of basketball. It is even said that Naismith also presented a few other games before he finally hung the 2 peach baskets, rolled out the soccer ball, and taught the initial 13 rules. The YMCA, founded on June 6, 1844 by George Williams in London, was purposed to put Christian principles into practice by developing a healthy body, mind, and spirit. The YMCA World Alliance's main motto is empowering young people. Today, the YMCA, the Young Men's Christian Association, is a worldwide organization with more than 57 million beneficiaries from 125 national associations. So, technically, basketball was created in the church to solve a problem, which was to occupy and empower young people through the development of a healthy body, mind, and spirit. The YMCA has been serving communities with basketball for over 128 years. Now, the YMCA was also instrumental in the introduction and adoption of basketball within African American communities. In the 1910s, the YMCA started to build Black-only YMCAs in urban communities. The introduction of basketball to the African American community by the YMCA released the spirit of basketball in the African American community and laid the foundation for Black basketball's golden era, the era between the 1920s and the formation of the NBA in 1949. This was an era that basketball empowered African Americans to become entrepreneurs, earn honest livings, strengthen communities, secure college educations, and advance civil rights. In the 1940s, a young New York Park and Recreation employee started a community basketball program. Holcomb Rucker blended playground basketball and tutoring to help over 700 youth get to college. Rucker aligned himself with the spirit of basketball and empowerment to help hundreds of urban youth accomplish both academic and athletic success. It was Rucker's desire to use basketball to inspire the youth in his community, so he launched the Pro-Am League that would evolve into the legendary Rucker Park and the modern-day street ball. Today, there is a basketball brand called Ball is Life. This is a very popular brand, and I think the target market are male and female players, children between 12 and 21 years old, and their primary focus is high school basketball. Now, per Wikipedia, life is a characteristic distinguishing physical entities that have biological processes, such as self-sustaining processes giving life, from those that do not, either because such functions have ceased due to death or the lack of such functions, and they're classified as inanimate. In a manner of speaking, basketball is alive. Now let's think about that. Basketball is a source of livelihood for hundreds of thousands of people around the world and a source of inspiration for hundreds of millions of people globally. Basketball still possesses the same power to empower young people. Basketball also has the ability to empower economically, being a multi-billion-dollar industry. However, none of the wealthiest basketball organizations have as their core principle or purpose the empowerment of people. The spirit of basketball is not in full operation. Every year, basketball produces billions of dollars for corporations, and in some cases, some corporations generate more revenue than the GDP of many countries. Every year, basketball produces millions of dollars for men and women around the globe. However, as basketball has grown and evolved over its 128-year lifespan, the titans of the sport, those who dominate the sport, have moved away from empowering young people to the exploitation of young people. Yes, there are individuals and organizations that use basketball to empower young people, but as a whole, from youth basketball through professional basketball, the primary objective is profit, how to get this money. As a result, basketball in 2020 is making a fraction of the impact that the game could make as multi-billion-dollar industries that are built upon a few dozen brands. Now, what if the multi-billion-dollar world of basketball still operated from the same point of purpose and intent that basketball was created to fulfill? In today's world, there are many examples of for-profit businesses that are purposed to make a positive impact in the world. Basketball can easily generate billions of dollars and also empower lives above and beyond what it's doing today, especially in urban communities. 100 years after the YMCA introduced basketball to African American communities in the United States, and 60 years after the formation of the NBA, basketball as a vehicle for economic empowerment has disappeared, and basketball as a vehicle for educational empowerment in African American communities is anemic. Basketball is impartial as a fertile plot of land. Whatever seed you place in the ground, it will produce a plant of like kind. The purpose of Basketball the Remix is to empower children, youth, and young adults, using it as an alternative game of basketball to create economic and educational opportunities by intentionally leveraging our revenues to develop business models that better distribute and use the revenues to create businesses, jobs, internship opportunities while training and preparing children, youth, and young adults for educational and employment opportunities. Like the founding father of the YMCA, Dr. James Naismith and Holcomb Rucker, I believe I can harness the spirit of basketball to lead to the development of a new approach with basketball that changes lives and communities around the world. So stay tuned to learn how we can harness the spirit of basketball and duplicate and build upon the legacy of the YMCA of Dr. James Naismith and Holcomb Rucker. This is Mark T. Armstrong, aka Coach 1891, and please like, subscribe, and share. Be blessed, and I'll see you at the